What's up, good people? The mayor is back in effect, and we were doing a Raw Post Show. Monday Night Raw just ended, and we ended with Dominic Mysterio picking up a win over Damian Priest. But we're going to go from the top down and tell you everything from top to bottom. This is obviously Women's Wrestling Talk. I'm going to give you guys a little drop before I start.
I am your forever ROH Women's Champion, your fallen goddess, the Alpha, the Minion, Overlord, the ROH Gatekeeper. But most of all, I am the best in the world, Athena, and you are watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
All right, the mayor is back, and we're talking Monday Night Raw, Monday Nightmare. And honestly, it really wasn't that much of a show. This is obviously the go home show for Monday Night Raw for Crown Jewel this weekend. And we kind of know how the card's shaping up, and we're going to have a pre-recorded episode of SmackDown this Friday. But I thought we'd have more meat and potatoes to show. I'm not saying it didn't tell a story, but we opened up the show with Jey Uso coming up. Remember, Jey just lost the title last week versus Braun Breaker. Hell, Braun Breaker wasn't even on the entire show tonight. So we opened up the show with Jey. He says he wants to talk to one person. Out comes his brother, Jimmy. And they talk about how they need to take down the bloodline. Jey says, hey, if we're going to do this, it has to be me as Jey and you as Jimmy. Like, I've done all this on my own. He kind of stunned on his brother a little bit, saying how he left the bloodline, made a name for himself. They don't look at us as twins anymore. They look at me as main event Jey Uso. They look at me as Yeet, look at you as no Yeet. So you had that moment. They kind of reconciled. He agreed to come to SmackDown on Friday and talk to Roman, which will set up more stuff. And throughout the night, we see kind of their interactions with each other on the brand. As far as the matches, I believe we only had 4 matches, which says a lot about the 2-hour format for Monday Night Raw going forward. But we started out first with Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus. Very hard-hitting match. I remember these guys last fought in August, hard-hitting. Sheamus picked up the win in convincing fashion with a bro kick. And I believe that's going to allow Ludwig Kaiser to kind of free himself up to kind of be with Gunther in his match versus Cody for the very first Crown Jewel Championship. Very good match. We also get a promo from Rhea, who also was notably absent from Monday Night Raw tonight, kind of saying how she has her demons and she had her past and she's made mistakes and things like that, but how Raquel and Liv are doing everything to Rhea out of just sheer jealousy, and she vows to put a stop to it. So I believe that'll end up with a match coming in the near future. I'm not sure if they're on the Crown Jewel card, but Rhea notably absent from Raw. If you want to say maybe she's already traveling to the Saudi area, it's also very possible. Just going back to the first thing we saw, that was probably for me the biggest part of Monday Night Raw is what was going on with Jey and Jimmy. Just because we know what's happening with the bloodline. We know that the Motor City Machine Guns are the new SmackDown champions, tag team champions over there. So the storyline around them pretty much was in bits and pieces of the whole night. Remember, we only are in 2 hours now. So whatever we see on Friday, it's going to be Jey and Jimmy, or Jey probably aligning with Roman. Bo's in the chat. He says, on Sunday, they are taping for Raw for next week from Saudi. Would imagine more talent than normal would be going. Possibly. It felt like a very skeleton show, for sure. Now, after that match with Kaiser and Sheamus, we do see the Usos walking together, which you don't see that often, seeing that probably they are kind of aligned with each other. You know, the last time they were in a ring with each other together, it was at WrestleMania when they fought, and Jey brought that up. They run into Sammy, who I didn't think Sammy would be involved in the storyline so early. I knew he would come back around as the honorary Uso, but he actually showed himself very early and said, Jey, what are you doing? Like, first he says he wants to talk to Jey alone outside of Jimmy, which Jimmy did not take to that at all, but he stepped off, which prompted some back and forth between Sammy and Jey, and saying he doesn't understand how he can just go back after everything that Roman put him through, that he kind of made his own name. He doesn't have to get involved, which led Jey to saying, you wouldn't understand, you're not family. So it seems like we're going back into the beginnings of this, where Sammy had to earn his keep to be a member of the bloodline altogether. So that's going to be very interesting going forward. And I think that whatever's going on there, especially what we saw at the end of the night, I'm going to fast forward here so we can talk about the rest of the action. Jimmy decided to look for Sammy throughout the rest of the night because Jimmy said, "Hey, I'll talk to Sammy. No shade. I'll talk to him." Because Jay said, "Hey, no, Sammy stepped up when you were gone." Because Sammy had earned Jay's trust. We remember how that storyline played out. So, end of the night, we see Jimmy and Jay saying, "Hey, did you find Sammy?" And then they see Solo talking to Sammy in the parking lot from the SUV. So I don't know what that means. I think it'll be very interesting to see because that means that maybe Solo's like, "Hey, Sammy, you don't need to get involved with this, step off type thing," or I don't know. Uh, Before the next match, we get Gunther cutting a promo on Cody and lieu of their tag team match on SmackDown this Friday. It's going to be Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther versus Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. I'm pretty sure it's going to have some type of Kevin Owens influence, but he cut a promo on Cody about how he's the good kid and the good story, but he's the secondary champion as it relates to Gunther. So I'm pretty sure that'll be a big match this coming weekend, but hopefully we get a good match and not just like Super Cody burying probably the best technical wrestler in the company. Next up, we have Ivy Nile versus Zelina Vega. Very good match. Came about because Zelina Vega hit Chad Gable with a chancla in the tag team contenders match last week. Zelina got some good work in against Ivy Nile. LWO and the Creed brothers get into it on the outside because Julius Creed stopped Zelina Vega from hitting the code red. That distraction, that momentum shifted all the way into Ivy Nile's favor, and she hit Zelina Vega with a shouting and then took the 3 count. American Made stands tall. Pretty sure that we're going to get more with that rivalry as we saw towards the end of the show. We get back from commercial, and now we get what was supposed to be a face-to-face between Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, but now we know that Bronson Reed was asked to stay away from Seth Rollins. Seth is talking to the crowd and saying how much of a monster that he is, and that the fans have forgotten that he can be a monster just like Bronson Reed, which prompts that Seth gets called out by Bronson, and Bronson says, "Hey, I'm actually here in the parking lot. Come see me." What does Seth do? He comes sees me, which, interesting enough, is one of the funnier moments on the show. And I would say this is funnier than what R-Truth did, where Seth Rollins is marching backstage and he pulls off his blue leather jacket to reveal another blue leather jacket that is exactly the same. If you didn't see it, it's probably on Twitter. Go catch it. It was hilarious. But they have their back and forth backstage. Seth actually hits Bronson Reed with a curb stomp on the hood of a car, which Bronson absolutely ate because Seth was trying to talk his shit to the camera after that curb stomp. Bronson ate that and proceeded to get back to work. He put Seth through 3 tables off the back of a what do you call it, a semi-truck, and Seth is out. So now, I don't know if you want to say that match is in jeopardy, but it adds a lot more layers to that match going forward. And honestly, that might be one of the better matches on the Crown Jewel card. And if I'm hopeful, I would hope that Bronson gets the rub there from Seth as being the real monster of the Monday Night Raw brand. We go to commercial after that. Pierce is obviously trying to get medical attention to Seth and all that good stuff. We get The Miz. We get a commercial of Miz being bullied by Final Testament. That appears later in the show. Then we get R-Truth hanging out with Alpha Academy with Otis, Maxine, and Tozawa. And then R-Truth rolls up saying some things about him. We get the comedic moments. Miz tries to grovel up to R-Truth and say, "Hey, like, I apologize for what I did," and whatnot like that. Truth swerves him and says, "Hey, I accept your apology," only to slap him in the mouth and say, "Hey, good luck with the Wyatt 6. Y'all gonna die." Another good moment. Truth walking past Pete Dunne saying, "Hey, what's up, Butch? Where's Pete?" So the Miz is basically stuck against the Wyatt 6, which I'll jump ahead again, which we see later on the show. The Miz is kind of going to Adam Pearce saying, "Hey, I'm a 2-time Grand Slam champion. Where's my security from the Wyatt 6 and all this type of stuff? I want to deal with it." And then the Final Testament pulls up on Miz and says, "Hey, what's the plan? You find Bo Dallas for me tonight, or I'm going to break your legs." So Miz is absolutely entrenched into this rivalry. I guess Paul Ellering is out after taking the finisher from Bo Dallas last week, the Sister Abigail. And now we're going to probably have the Miz, AOP, Karrion Kross versus the Y6. Call me crazy. Put that in War Games over the Bloodline match. That's just me. Or maybe do both of those as War Games matches. I think that makes the most sense. So Truth out of that rivalry. And if you ask me, I hope we can get Truth back in NXT in some fashion, because last time we saw Truth in NXT, that's actually when he injured himself. I forget who was in action with. I want to say he was in action with Grayson Waller, where he injured the leg. So maybe we get some Truth love in NXT. I think that would be great. The next match we have was the LWO, Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus the New Day versus War Raiders. Good match. I think this match took up the most of the show, if I'm being honest. I want to say there was at least 3 commercial breaks during this match. Monday Night Raw as a 2-hour show absolutely flies by with these commercial breaks. A lot of good action in this match. The cool thing is we told multiple stories in this match just by the finish alone. What I mean by that is our eventual winners, the Viking Raiders, are going to actually go on to take on JD and Finn. We saw Finn earlier in the night before give him some words of advice to Dom as he was going to take on Damian Priest. Finn was not involved in anything else outside of that. But what we did is we started a new rivalry with the LWO and American Made. Don't know why Chad Gable was under the ring the whole match, but he took Rey Mysterio out of the match when he was going for a 619 on Kofi. Dragon Lee took out the field. Chad Gable locks Rey Mysterio in an ankle match, takes him out of the match. Viking Raiders get the finish on Kofi. Before that, Kofi, I believe he had Eric set up for the finish. And Woods saw Rey Mysterio and ducked out to try to take out Mysterio, gets caught up, and now Kofi's involved in the finish. Kofi ate the pin. So a lot of three storylines got told there. American Made versus LWO is probably going to be a thing going forward, especially with Ivy now picking up the win against Selena. The Viking Raiders are your number 1 contenders for the tag titles. And the New Day are going to further have another rift because while Woods wants to be the quarterback of this thing, there were 2 moments in this match where Woods kind of like lost his shit. Fans wanted him to tag in Kofi, and he said, "Why? I'm in control here. Why do you want me to tag out? I got this." 2, Kofi signals Woods to go to the top rope to hit the double stomp off the backbreaker to finish the match and win the match. Woods audibles just to take out Rey. Don't know where they're going with this New Day story. I know it's the anniversary of everything, and something has to give there for us to either have an anniversary moment to celebrate 10 years of the New Day, or there's going to be some dissension to where they completely split. I don't know, but it's been a completely slow burn there. But your number 1 contenders are the Viking Raiders. Sorry, I keep saying Viking Raiders, the War Raiders. Next up, we have Dominic Mysterio versus Damian Priest. And that is your main event. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this quick recap, Dominic Mysterio won. He went to the ring alone, and surprisingly enough, it was a one-on-one match for a majority of the whole thing. Of course, Priest had the upper hand, but Dom had his moments until Liv and Raquel came back out to distract the referee for Carlito and JD to get the upper hand on Damian Priest, which didn't even work. Damian Priest took out all of Judgment Day by himself. He took steel chairs to Carlito, to JD McDonough, only for him to be distracted so long that Dominic Mysterio picks up a win via schoolboy pin, which it's flat. I'm not going to say it's Halloween Havoc flat, if you know what I'm talking about, if you saw our post show just yesterday. But I mean, I guess I don't know what I expected. So, but Dominic Mysterio is now going to be in the main event picture, which if you're the most hated person in the company from a heel perspective, that's a good look. I don't know if you actually want to do Dom versus Gunther or how we get there, or if he's earned himself a shot to be in a number 1 contenders match, but that's where we're headed. So, I mean, interesting enough, but we closed the show with pretty much Damian Priest going ape shit. Damian Priest going ape shit, giving Dom multiple finishers, giving Dom chair shots, beating the hell out of Carlito, beating the hell out of Jamie McDonough. If we saw Dame last week tell Gunther like, "Hey, I'm still coming for you. I'm coming for what's mine." But now somehow, some way, Dom is in the world title picture. So I mean, We end the show with Dom obviously beaten, battered, and Damian Priest standing tall in the ring. But that was the end of the show, and that was Monday Night Raw. If you ask me, the most interesting part of this Monday Night Raw was everything that's going on with the Bloodline story. We didn't get much from the Wyatt Six storyline outside of Karrion Kross calling the play with Miz to find Bo Dallas. Hopefully, we get more details here, more QR codes, more messages that let us know exactly where that storyline is headed, and we get the War Games match with those guys. But something's got to give with the Bloodline storyline heading into the weekend, because I don't think any of these guys are on the Crown Jewel card as it stands today. So with everything going on, Usos kind of reuniting as individuals just to take down Solo because they feel like Solo is worse. We got Sammy back into the fold finally, the honorary Uso, who was trying to give Jay some words of wisdom, but we see him talking with Solo in the back in the parking lot. Bronson Reed standing tall over Seth Rollins. Sheamus picking up a big victory over Ludwig Kaiser, which hopefully leads him back into the Intercontinental title picture. Notable absences: no Braun Breaker, no Rhea Ripley. Very interesting main event, but Dom possibly getting a world title shot could happen in your near future. That was Monday Night Raw, y'all. I appreciate y'all in the chat. Boza for rocking with me. Johnny, cousin Ron, everybody that was with me, the watch along. We're going to keep making Monday Nightmare a thing every single week. But always check out some of our other shows. We got a lot of shows. Of course, we're going to have the NXT watch along and post show tomorrow with the Councilman, Tuesday Night Pharaoh. I think we're gonna have obviously AEW Dynamite with Courtney on Wednesday. We're gonna have the Honey watch along on Friday for SmackDown, the go home show for Crown Jewel, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna either have a Crown Jewel watch along or absolutely have a post show. So keep it locked here on Women's Wrestling Talk. We have a lot of great content. We got a lot of articles going up every single day featuring all the news from some of your favorite superstars, favorite women's wrestlers, and of course, cop some merch. We got a lot of merchandise that we can afford you guys. Of course, make sure you still go cop those Low Levice shirts. I want to see a blue when I see you guys in the streets. Also, cop that Tsunami shirt because that Tsunami shirt is dope. But until next time, that's been Monday Night Raw. I appreciate you guys, obviously, for rocking with me. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go off.
That was an accident, but Shayna making appearances on my shows as usual because my client knocked her out. I was going to say we'll see you guys tomorrow for the watch along for NXT, and we'll see you guys on next WWT Live. Again, this is Women's Wrestling Talk. This has been the Monday Nightmare, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Thank you guys.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. All right? What you waiting for? Head to www.talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling